Greetings. Welcome to Class 5 Collection, Ecto Ericia. Time for another Christmas Eve ghost story. This one entitled Shmee. Some houses are made for holiday gatherings, with long hallways, big windows, and soft carpets. The same houses, with laughter that lingers long after conversations have faded, even if the home is big, warm, and comfy, because its occupants have filled it with companionship and love. This was a type of house an older man named Ethan Clark had found himself in on a bright, cold Christmas Eve in 1867. His oldest niece, Emma, had invited him to stay with her and friends on this holiday as he was traveling through town on business. As he arrived at the big old home, there was beautiful drifting snow that had a blue, silver shimmering light in the snowdrifts. When he got to the door, he was greeted by his niece Emma. Uncle Ethan had entered with her, and the home was so warm and greeting. A crackling fire, evergreen garland draped over the stairwells. Candles had flickered in the big room. The atmosphere was comfortable and inviting. There were a dozen younger people in their 20s, and his niece Emma had introduced him. So, with conversation and some drinks, they had supper, and then somebody had suggested after that they had play a parlor game. People didn't want to play charades or blind man's buff, but they wanted to play something different. So Emma said, well, while she was in college, there was a game that somebody had taught her, and it was similar to hide and seek. It was called Shmee. She said, it's very much like hide and seek. So they all gathered in the drawing room and they listened to the instructions. She said, it's very much like hide and seek. But what it is, one person is what they call Shmee, and everyone has to find this person Shmee, but they can't reveal themselves. When you think somebody is Shmee, you ask them, are you Shmee? And they have to answer. And if they are, you must stay with them until everybody in the place gathers in the same place to find Shmee. And the last person to find Shmee becomes Shmee for the next round. Sounded very intriguing, Uncle Ethan thought. He wasn't much for parlor games, but why not? He was curious. So the the candles were extinguished. So all and the big massive curtains were drawn. So a little bit of moonlight had came in, and the light from the fireplaces. That's all they had for light. So everybody had walked off, and Uncle Ethan had went upstairs to the top floor and wandered around, just enjoying the solitude of this big house and admiring just the quietness. So he come to this little hallway off to the end that he didn't think it was there. So he made a left, and it was just one door at the very end. He opens the door, and it was just decorated with a couple of chairs, a small end table, and three large windows. So when he stepped in, he felt a presence, like somebody was there. And he scanned the room. His eyes are starting to adjust. And he sees a younger girl, maybe 13, 14, sitting on the floor with her knees bent and her hands folded on her knees. So he said, oh, very nice hiding spot, young lady. By any chance, are you Shmee? Her head was still looking at the floor like she was shy, but she nodded yes. Well, do you mind if I sit next to you and wait for the others? She, without saying a word, she moved herself so he could sit next to her on the carpet. So he sat for a time. She did not speak. A short time later, he could hear footsteps and hear people giggling. He said to the young girl, Won't be long now. I think they'll be finding us very shortly." And he felt very calm, and he felt that she enjoyed just having him near her. So a few moments later, the door had opened, and a younger man that he noticed from earlier had come in and said, "Are you Shmi?" Uncle Uncle Nathan looked at him and said, "Well, I am not, but this young lady that I'm sitting next to you is." And the man said, um, "Sir, there's nobody sitting next to you." And he said, "Right." And as he turned, the girl was gone. Now, she could have gotten up and moved while he was talking to the gentleman. Maybe, maybe not. It was kind of weird. So he shrugged it off, and then the game had ended, and they went back downstairs, and they were talking, and he wasn't spooked or scared, but he was just scanning the room since all the candles had been lit, and he was looking to see if he could see this young girl, but there was nobody in the house that was her age, or even what she had on, because she had on a lighter dress than what everybody else had on. So he pulled his niece Emma aside and said, "Emma, do you have a young teenage girl here by any chance?" She's like, "Uncle, no, everyone's in their 20s, and no offense, but you are the oldest." "Okay, everything okay?" "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He was just thinking, he's tired. Maybe he just imagined it. Didn't think much of it. So throughout the course of the night, they did some more games, and they were drinking and having a good time. And somebody had brought up um, that the servants of this house do not go upstairs to the last room at the end of the hallway because it is haunted. So everyone snickered and, come on, don't bring up ghost stories. Come on, that's. So there was some protests, and then Emma had said, she said, "Well, when my parents bought this place over a decade ago, the former residents had said that 20 years prior to us buying it, there was a young lady that was playing hide and seek, and she found a hiding spot at the very top of the house, and she hid in a cupboard, and the cupboard locked behind her, and they didn't find her for several days, and she had passed." So everybody hushed and got quiet. Not scared, but just kind of like, "Oh, that's sad." But then Emma raised her hand, shrugged it off, and said, "Just ghost stories, just so the servants don't go up there after dark, that's all." So everybody had said goodnight, and Emma had walked her uncle up to his bedroom for the night. She said, "Uncle, thank you for coming. I'll see you in the morning." Gave him a hug. "And thank you for playing the game with us. I know this is not your thing." So, "Oh, it was my pleasure, Emma. It was good to spend time with you. See you in the morning." So as he's getting ready for bed, he had opened up his drapes to see the beautiful sky and the moon. So he lay down, he got comfortable, and he had to doze off. And at some point, he felt something come in the room. And he thought maybe it was his niece, or maybe a guest had got lost. So he opened his eyes, and he could see a small figure. Definitely not an adult, definitely a, smaller person. He didn't say anything. And she had come to the foot of the bed. And then she had walked to the side of the bed, and he realized she doesn't have solid form. She was almost like a translucent, and he could feel a slight touch on his hand. And he wasn't scared or startled, but he could feel that whoever this was just wanted companionship and wanted to remember what it was like to be with the living. And he didn't say anything, but then he felt her disappear, but not disappear in a wink. It was more of a dissolve, a very peaceful let go. And he felt very at peace with that. And he kind of smiled and he said, well, maybe that young lady finally finished her game after all these years. So the next morning when he woke up, he did not tell anybody about his encounter in the bedroom. He figured that was between him and that little ghost, and he let it go. And he told Emma that if he would be invited back, he will definitely come back. So that's that story. I hope you guys liked it. Hope I didn't hack it up too bad. Said I was trying to remember something from 40 years ago. All right, everybody, take care. Merry Christmas. Peace.